Hello, everyone. All right, so if you can hear my voice, you can just let me know at the side, like checking in or something, your LC or your name, so that I can know you are here. We are just gonna wait for 1 or 2 more minutes, for more people to come in. Then we will start the value delivery education. All right, cool. So we are gonna start now. Yeah. So welcome to the value delivery space education today. So in these sessions, like this education itself, we are only gonna cover more like the entire LC role in managing your value delivery phase, more like a department strategies, but not so much on like what each of the EPM should do in value delivery period. So if you were to know more in details in terms of like how do we make sure we really facilitate the best experience for our EP uh, during value delivery phase, then you have to join the what is that education on Saturday, where I'm gonna go very detailed into talking about like in talking about how each EPM should play their role during the value delivery phase. Yeah. So another thing is also if you have any questions when I was giving this education, feel free to really put down your questions in the chat. Then I will actually respond to you in terms of like answering the questions itself. Yeah. So welcome to the space. In value delivery phase is all about the 16 standards, and yeah, we call it like the hashtag road to complete. Okay, first thing first, what are standards and why do we try standards? So if you know about 16 standards, because in Isaac a lot of the time we were talking about like, hey, we really want to send more young people out there for exchange because we wanted to experience the leadership development, right? But the thing is, how do we really make sure that leadership development can happen within the EP, which is the most important part, which is during value delivery itself. So in all the a lot of the time, a lot of LCs or a lot of network might think that hey, we put a lot of attention on attraction, on consideration, making sure they get the projects and things. But the most important period usually is value delivery because that's when the people are really undergoing our product itself and really on exchange itself. So we have to make sure all the standards are happening at the right place and at the right time to make sure that they really get the experience that they deserve, and when they come back, they become a new person. And also at the same time, they become a promoter of global volunteer itself. So standards are very important. So as Isaacer, we have the role to deliver system standard, which is what allows us to facilitate the inner and outer journey for the EP in order for them to develop their leadership qualities. So how it happens is that you have an Isaacer together with the IGV part, you deliver 16 standards for your EP so that when 16 standard happen, it's more like the entire outer journey that is going to happen for them, individual goal, support system, multiple stakeholders, and all these things that happen on the outer journey. So it's able to facilitate them to have inner journey to happen, which when they reflect on their growth, reflect on their entire exchange journey, and all this kind of thing. So only after 16 standard deliver, they experience inner and outer journey together, they will be able to develop certain sort of like leadership development qualities, like the leadership qualities that we are always talking about in Isaac. So this is the entire leadership development model in Isaac, which is also our core of doing exchange itself. And this is very important because if we don't deliver the standards and we don't allow inner journey to happen, we would have no difference with all the other exchange agency or whatever that is out there. So give you one very interesting story of myself today, that when I was talking with my classmate, so some of them actually went on China to have their internship, right? So it's actually kind of like an exchange journey itself as well, because they were there for 8 weeks by their own, no more than that, 12 weeks. And then, so when I was listening to the entire journey, they were kind of telling me like they feel very negative because they cannot adapt to the Chinese culture, because they feel like they don't have the competency to work in the China company, or they don't know what is happening over there. They just feel like they couldn't fit in, and I feel like their experience is very bad. So I think when I was talking to them in the whole lunch and I was telling them that, hey, maybe it's not that you didn't fit in, but because that is just like a very minor thing. Like they don't understand why people behave in this way, why the Chinese people, when they were discussing certain things, they talk in that way, or they are very structured, very goal driven, or whatever. So when I was talking with them in lunch, and I was telling them that every country they have a different culture, and it might not actually has anything to do with you, but just is a acceptance of like the culture is different, communication way is different, but it's up to us on how do we adapt to that, and also realize at the same time like so there are people who actually communicate in a totally different way with us, even though we are all Chinese, right? So after the whole conversation that was super long, I was just like talking with them about like my own experience as well, blah blah blah, and all this kind of thing. They tend to think that they actually gain a lot from the internship experience instead. Like so instead of seeing it like a negative experience, I can actually see it as a positive experience. So that is the thing, that a lot of the time when you don't facilitate the EP's experience, you don't play the inner journey part, a lot of the time people will just be stuck at the phase where they get the outer journey, they get the culture shock, but they have no clue what to do with them, and they don't know how to develop from there. Yeah. So that's why it's really, really important to make sure we really fulfill the 16 standards and all the lead space that's supposed to happen. Yeah. So to make the connection clear, every standard is actually revolving around the inner and outer journey, and this allows us to facilitate even more effectively by utilizing lead, which lead we are going to cover in EPM education as well. So tips before you start: learn and understand all 16 standards in details, because for example, when you are looking at this, right, visa and work permit, arrival pickup, insurance, each of them has their own definition of what is the definition of done. Yeah, it can't be like the common sense where I think they have insurance means it's done. So really read through city standard in detail, separate every standards based on different stages, because in OGV there are standards that is supposed to happen in the first week, second week, third week, different stages of exchange. Set an expectation to use the EP and educate them about the 16 standards as well. Because the thing is that a lot of the time, people do not know that we have actually developed the standards. So after that, they tend to think like, hey, do I actually get the standard that I'm supposed to get? Because they are not aware of it, right? Establish a communication channel and routine with your EPs to have a weekly follow up. At least check them out. Don't chuck them to exchange and then never say hi to them anymore. Because remember, the thing is that we want them to come back differently and do something different for the community or the country or whatever development that they are supposed to experience. So make sure we always check out their progress and see if they are growing from each of the experience they get. Keep it consistent and take actions accordingly. Yeah. So if you realize in the first slide, I was putting like road to complete, right? So what exactly is complete? Complete is actually a term that was introduced only in last term, where we started to measure a lot in terms of like every EP that we send out, we must make sure that they get a quality experience. So complete is when 14 out of 16 standards and being fulfilled, and EP actually filling the standards away. The only standards that are able to be missed are 8, 9, 12, and 13, which means out of these four, 8, 9, 12, and 13, only two can be missed. If you miss any sort of standards outside of this four, it means the EP is not complete as well. Yeah. So all standards from sending entity need to be fulfilled, which is from OGV side, you cannot miss any sort of standard. Yeah. So what should each EPM do to make sure all complete the best experience can be delivered? You can stay tuned for Saturday EPM education, which I will go super detailed in the EPM role. Yeah. So the thing is that keep track of all the standards of all your EP using the same tracker, and we'll only use one nationally for the entire Isaac and Malaysia. So it's something that looks like this. I'll just show you. Yeah, so in here you can see all the precise description about what is our role, what should the hosting and home LC do, how will it be measured, and then you can just duplicate one for your own LC and start putting all your IP's name. They are already going on exchange, and they should already be getting their standards and things like that. Yeah. So you will get this slide as an output, then you can start using this to track all your EPs. So what is the common myth about complete or exchange itself? So can even still download their leadership certificate even if they didn't get complete? Yes, as long as they finish their standard survey, they will be able to download their leadership certificate regardless whether they are complete or not. Because the fact of having complete is not to make sure our EP take the proactive approach to actually make sure they are a complete customer. But instead, it's Isaac's role to make sure we are doing what we should be doing to make sure our EP is being completed. So as long as they fill in the standard survey, they will be able to get the certificate. So is it compulsory for EPs to fill in MPS and LDA to achieve complete? No, It's not compulsory, but of course, it's highly encouraged for EPs to fill in both MPA and MPS and LDA as a feedback for their ISA experience. Because the thing is that LDA is the key tool that we are using now to allow EP to see the values as well as to understand if they really grow through their exchange journey. And also NPS, the Net Promoter Score, is a very, very important measurement to make sure we know that if we are the whole program itself is up to what the EP is looking at things. And if we don't have this kind of data, it's very hard for us to assess our services and evaluate how we can improve from time to time. Yeah. So are there any deadlines for EPs to fill in the standard survey? Technically, no. But in order for us to achieve complete, EPs have to fill in and finish the standard survey within 40 days after their realization had finished. Yeah. So only then their experience will actually be counted as complete. So remember, we wouldn't want our efforts in ensuring all standards are being fulfilled to go to waste. So we already understand the importance of standards in providing a quality EP experience. So just a bit of extra effort to make sure that our efforts are being recorded and is very kept properly as a data. So why 14 days? Remember standard 6, debrief with eyes at home. These standards needs to be accomplished within 14 days after the EP had come back home. So they have to experience welcome home program or certain sort of debriefing experience with eyes at home. So if you don't understand what does it mean by debriefing eyes at home, you can check out the standards tracker. It's been mentioned precisely in terms of what are the actions that will be counted as a debrief. So think about it. The earlier we debrief their experience, the fresher is their memory, and the more they can reflect on their experience and realize new things. So it wouldn't be as effective if we only debrief 1 month after they have come back. They already have forgotten what had happened in their exchange. Yeah. So that is all about value delivery management as well as like certain things about standards and things. We'll go even more details in EPM education to know that each of the EPM what they should exactly do with the EP itself. So next, I'm gonna put into crisis management education. Yeah. So in value delivery, one of the most common thing that will happen is crisis. My EP go to this country, she doesn't get accommodation. My EP is not pick up at airport. My EP is being disturbed by other EPs. My EP didn't get the right JD. My EP is then that. And this is when a lot of crisis happens. Sometimes it can be so serious that the EP want to come back. And always it's a very complicated process in the sense that we don't know who's wrong or right, and we don't know what to do, right? Like in terms of like deciding whether this case should be solved by the IGV or OGV sides and things. So what is the level of communication that you should go when crisis happen? I'm just gonna let you see the big picture here. So step one, when crisis happen, complaint party should inform the hosting ISA entity and the responsible party to try to solve the issue privately with them first. So you are advised to raise complaint within 1 month of the date of the violations that happen. Don't wait until you come back from exchange, only you wanted to resolve it and things. So you can go with internal level first, solving with the IGV. So if step ones have been tried and failed, complaint party should inform and involve the standing entity, which is us. While this entity will inform and communicate the hosting entity to solve the problem, which means it's either to either level. And if the parties involved cannot reach a mutual agreement, then it's advised to proceed to step three. Depending on the urgency level, you should move up higher. And then if step two have been tried and failed, then both at sending and entity initiative should inform ECB as well as MC the book together to solve the issue. So what is ECB? Is Entity Control Board. It's like a court in ISAC where if it's a issue that really cannot be resolved, even when MC talk together, we will pass this case to ECB so that ECB will handle in an entire fair manner because the ECB person in charge will be someone who is already out of current term. And the ECB here will either resolve it here or they will talk to the ECB board of another entity to resolve it. Who should refund, who should do the role, and things kind of thing. So MCPIC key person is Roger, the director of customer experience. So make sure anything that happened, you have to deal with her, let her know, and let her understand what is happening. So if all the parties involved cannot reach a mutual agreement within 2 weeks, then it's advised to submit a formal case application via email or approach MC for further help. So very, very important thing here is that the do's and don'ts when crisis happen, do's ensure all correspondence are in black and white format. Emails are compulsory as proof as well as to avoid unclear discussion and conversation. Retain all proof, everything that you need in email and then file them in a Google Doc as a report or file them as an email. do not use WhatsApp or voicemails to communicate only. This is very, very bad because a lot of the time when crisis happen, people will screenshot the WhatsApp, they will use voicemail to talk to another person, and then it keep passing around all these words in Telegram and in WhatsApp, and it's super ineffective. And also, there will be a lot of miscommunication that happen. So make sure you are sending email, CC to whoever that is needed, and send WhatsApp or Telegram message to file the complaints is a complete don't, like, do not do that because it's very informal and it's really not solving the problem. Yeah. So and finally, a bit of soft part when crisis happen is that remember to always be a human. So what does it mean is that when crisis happen, stay neutral and be empathetic to all stakeholders. And all stakeholders doesn't mean just your EPs, but also the OPM. Because we all know how hard it is to run IGB projects. When people are running IGB projects, there are like 20 EPs, and your EP is not happy one thing, they have to deal with you. They have to deal with another 19 EP, and each of them has their own, shit to solve and also the things that they want. Stay calm, formal, and structured in your communication. Don't be reactive, plan ahead, and also, most importantly, lead and facilitate your EPs to grow and learn from the incident itself. A lot of the time, things that has already happened, you can't really change much. And a lot of the time, EP is not really looking for that change, but they are actually looking for the comfort, or they are looking for something like how can you it's very important that after crisis happen or during, lead them and facilitate them to see from another perspective and remind them of their end goal of going for a change. Yeah. So sometimes EB can be a little bit ridiculous. Sometimes it might be really the IGB fault. So depending on the situation, remember your key role is to facilitate the process to make sure they grow from the incident itself and take it as something like it's part of their whole development. Yeah. So and also be very calm and be very attentive when this kind of crisis happen, because usually the EP will feel very, very scared because they are alone in another country. So try to assist them as much as possible and always stay responsive to your EP, because the the point when crisis happen, the only person that they can reach out might probably just be you. Yeah. So that is all for crisis management. You can ask me as well later if you have jot down any questions. So if you haven't done your OPS or you are going to do your OPS for your EPs, you can go to these links. There is a national output, national agenda, and further resources. You can check out how we are doing our national OPS, and then you can refer to it or customize a little bit to make sure you really deliver a quality OPS to your EPs as well. And then for welcome home program guidelines instead, I'm not going to go through in details. I'm just going to show you like the big picture of it. So whenever your EP came back, if you are hosting a welcome home program or debriefing, so remember what has to be included is one-to-one debriefing. And what is not compulsory is group debriefing, gathering, party sharing, or seminar. Yeah. So it depends on your LC needs, and it also depends on like uh how many EPs that you have, when are they coming back, and things like that. So one-to-one debriefing, it can be physical or virtual conversation basis. We normally require 1 to 2 hours. Fill in the final LDA. Usually, is very, very important for them to reflect and debrief and explanation and telling them what's next. So checklist after the debriefing is that fill in standard survey, fill in NPS, and share further ISAC opportunities to them, especially ISP or ISP here means like reintegration, which is like they become ISACer, for example. Group debriefing, you can usually will be a lead space for EP to share with each other and things. But usually if you do this, you require OC team chair, agenda manager, and FASI, which is like the way you are doing your OPS as well. Yeah. So I wouldn't go through the details here. You can read it when I send this to you. Yeah. So what is the key thing to reflect and debrief, and also how do you explain what is next, right? So remember, one very important part of debriefing is this is a suggested agenda of how you can potentially plan your welcome home program and things. I have already put here so that you can also have a look. So wait a second. Okay, so you can see a lot of the sessions is about like story sharing, lead spaces, the next either opportunities and things like that. So one very important thing is that why do we do reintegration, which means asking our EP to become Isaac? the value proposition is because after the experience exchange, usually people will look for more development opportunities. To upskill the leadership development with a team experience in Isaac, to be able to engage with other like-minded young people. So our goal is always to have like 30% reintegration, because you know that people who have been to exchange is the best member that you can get, because they are the one who have already experienced the direct impact of our product itself. And they know why is it so important to fight for like global volunteer to happen, because they are the product of the experience itself. So why, of course, we'll get better prepared members because of their experience they have with our products. And this is really, really when PM contributes to exchanges for real, right? And also, how you will do it is that when you are implementing this, you will grow your talent capacity with profiles that really understand what ISAC does. And also, you speed up the entire operation, L&D, purpose conversations, and things like that. And it will kind of like shape your LC towards a more purposeful membership as well. So, the key point is to understand what it's going to look like when you implement this in your own LC or your own department itself. Yeah. So how usually reintegration will happen is not just when welcome home program, suddenly you are telling them like, hey, do you want to join and become an icicle? But along the way, if you are ensuring that all the touch point you are actually doing correctly and also with a high quality, then higher chances that when they come back uh, to your welcome home program or your debriefing, they will actually be able to join Isaac through reintegration program, where after you introduce them, there are the opportunities itself. Excuse me. So one thing that you can do when you're debriefing or actually in your welcome home program is also to present Isaac Way and connect the experience of membership with their exchange experience and opportunities that they can take at the moment to explain how it will be similar to their exchange or actually is like a higher form of leadership development as well. Yeah. So that is all for the entire contents of how value delivery is being done in LC level to be managed as an OGV department before we go into EPM space. So I think the key things is if you have any questions, feel free to ask Roger and I, because Roger is the key person in charge who is like working with customer experience and also ensuring everything in this space are going correctly. So now I would like you to give me some questions. If you have any questions, we can have a Q&A space. You can feel free to just type at the chat and I will answer to you. Anyone has any questions? If you don't have, you can just put wave so that I also know that you do not have questions. If you can just ask me. All right, Jun Chong, do not have questions. If you have more, you can ask me as well. Okay, so I think so far it's clear. So I think as a last note is that I wish you all the best in I hope you feel proud to see your EPs going out on exchange, and also I hope you can experience the first hand impact when they come back from exchange. Of course, not every EP's experience will be as beautiful and as inspiring, like what we always think like life changing and that kind of thing. I think a lot of the time, to be honest, it really depends on the EP's mentality itself as well, and what kind of attitude they are bringing there when they are going for an exchange. So I think this is also the part that is very important from your side to really learn, like how do we build the right attitude and the right curiosity for EPs before they go on a for exchange. Because for myself, I think a lot of the time it's like if people are going on an exchange program and they come back and they actually let me know like, hey, I actually think I didn't learn anything. For me, a lot of the time, by just living in a country, in a totally different culture and working with people, there are already a lot of things to learn and a lot of things to experience. But the thing is, a lot of the time, why people do not think that they learn anything is because they do not know how to learn and their experience is not being facilitated. No one is there to prompt them questions to ask them like, hey, what do you think of the difference? What do you think you learned? And how was your experience? So remember, as I-takers or as this leadership experience that we are developing, delivering to our EPs, it's very important to always be very conscious that they are on a learning journey, but not a travel journey or travel package or whatever. It's very, very important to always challenge them to go out of their comfort zone, to check, do something, try something, learn something, and also be very, very different. Like if they feel like they are afraid to talk to other EPs or things, push them to go for it, like how you are doing right now. And change. Yeah. So okay, so I think that is all. Thank you so much. And yeah, hope to see you again, and also how you enjoy your EPN experience. Good night. Eh, you don't even recognize my voice, and I was like, "Bye, thank you so much for coming." And then people are like telling, "Thank you so much, Roger." I'm like, "Bro, I'm wrong." Thank you so much, Roger. No, the person is like, "I mean Veronica." Oh, they still hear me. Where is it? Yeah, I still on the line? Hey, you can leave already lah. Bye. Bye. Have fun. Roger is sick. That's why I'm like her. I'm her worker today. And also, bye bye.